Ponyhead returns to St. Olga's to have brunch, because I guess that's the only place she can have brunch for some reason. But there's a new brunch quiz that you have to take in order to be able to have brunch. I don't even know. I can't even begin to describe how this makes sense. And I'm just gonna be straight up. I did not follow the beginning part of this episode at all. It felt like nonsense that was trying to be nonsense on purpose to throw us off track and set up the juxtaposition which came when this plot was interrupted by the arrival of Meteora, aka Hernândez. We get a good look at the form that she's in right now, and she has some monster traits, but she still mostly looks like herself. And of course, the students of St. Olga's assume that she's there to retake the school, but that's not her concern. So even though they set up defenses against her and she fights her way through them, she ends up just fighting her way to a random room. It looked like an old classroom or a storage room maybe, where she walks over to a pile of junk on the floor, plugs it in, and it stands up, and she speaks to it, introducing it to us, the audience, as St. Olga. It's a robot, the St. Olga for which the school is named, the original headmistress of the school. And you can tell Meteora's dress, the entire way that she carries herself, the way that she talks, is all based on this robot, and so it becomes plain right away that it is this St. Olga who raised her. She goes on to hack St. Olga and display St. Olga's earliest memories of her so that she can learn about her past and reconfirm the things that she has started to suspect, the things that we have had confirmed for us in other episodes. And we get to see the actual handing over of baby Meteora to St. Olga from a different perspective. Because we're being shown these things and not just told them, it opens the door for some really emotional responses. In fact, we get several clips of young Meteora being raised by St. Olga, and there's no other way to describe St. Olga's behavior than abusive, emotionally abusive. There is a reoccurring theme in this show, one which I've been putting off talking about because I want to do a whole video about it at some point, but that I feel has to be mentioned here, of parental abuse and the long-term effects that it has on adult children, aka adults who were once children who were abused. I don't know if that's the actual term, it just sounded good in my head. Point is, it's now clear and obvious to us that Meteora is another example of this. She was emotionally abused by her caretaker, St. Olga, and that turned her into the maladjusted person that she is now. And honestly, after all is said and done, and Meteora has finished watching the memories that she was concerned with, and St. Olga says the things that she says about it basically being Meteora's fault, that pissed me off. It hit just a little too close to home for me, and pissed me right the hell off, and now I am super sympathetic towards Meteora. Even after the remaining princesses all stand up to her and she attacks them, a fight that we don't get to see, but which is implied to be very brutal considering that she walks out of St. Olga's carrying Ponyhead's broken horn in her hand. I was still sympathetic towards her. As she walks off to take the throne of Muni, as she says is now her goal, I still felt sympathetic towards her, but this obviously isn't the way to go about it. Yes, she obviously deserves so much better, but all she's doing at this point is just perpetuating abuse, and that's never the way to go. I can't help but feel so bad for her. She was such a sweet and happy kid. And I know Eclipsa would not have raised her so poorly. Eclipsa would not have been so abusive towards her. Eclipsa is a good person at heart. So seeing Meteora make these mistakes, seeing her go off to challenge the current ruling family, and seeing her drive away at one of her minions and then kill the other one, leaving herself alone. I'm just left wishing that there was some way to undo all of this and she could go back and have the life that she was supposed to have. It's so unfair. I'm also not sure how to read that scene between her and her minions. Am I supposed to feel happy for her that she's cutting ties to her past and moving on? Or should I feel bad for her that she's now completely alone? Or am I supposed to feel some combination of the two? Or am I supposed to be confused about how I feel? I honestly don't know, and that's excellent. Also, is it just me, or is the more monstery Meteora that walks out of the castle there at the end kind of attractive? Just me? Okay, then never mind. Moving on. This was a really good episode. I really liked it. It was cool to see Meteora again. It was cool to see her backstory from a different perspective. I'm glad that we got that other perspective because it carried such an emotional impact with it. We are clearly in the home stretch now. This is clearly direct setup for the end game of this season. And I mean, holy crap, but when you guys told me that all of this heinous stuff would eventually come through and I would eventually appreciate all of it, you were super right, because I do. This plotline has been crazy, and it's been great, and I can't wait to see how it resolves. That said, as per usual, I'd like to know what do you guys think of this episode if you have seen it. Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord. Link in the description. Either way, though, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.